All right, guys, we are back. Today, I have my brother. He is here. He's going to give you all some insight on being black in law enforcement, okay? From his point of view, he's got about 13 to 14 years of law enforcement. His background is pretty much identical to mine. He started Birmingham City as a street cop, and now with the federal government, just like myself. So his experience, background is almost identical to mine. So let me ask you, Bull. I have a lot of people that have reached out to me about, being a black female in law enforcement. So let's talk about being a black male in law enforcement and what you have experienced, whether it has been positive, whether it has been negative. Because I think a lot of people, they see police officers, a lot of times all police officers are grouped in one category. So just give a little background on your personal experience being black in law enforcement.
Well, I think the thing is, like you were saying, we all get grouped in one category. And I think that's a tough thing, being an African-American officer, because, you want to take care of all people. I took on this job because, I felt like God was calling me to this. Okay. And I was called to go out, serve people, and use it as a ministry. But, because of the negative stigma that is put on law enforcement officers, because they're, they say one bad apple spoil a bunch. Okay. You have those people out there, it makes it difficult from your perspective, even though your heart is you want to help people, all people, but specifically your people. You have your people that look at you in the negative light because of the bad apples. Okay. So from a negative perspective, I think that's the negative part, because it kind of puts you behind the 8 ball. With me, used to be a school resource officer and going in and talking to the kids and everything like that. I loved it because it allowed me to help change the perspective of what the kids, how they viewed us as law enforcement, viewed me as
right.
law enforcement. And,
right.
a lot of the kids I spoke to were African-American kids.
Okay.
So that allowed them to say, okay, well, here's a officer that looks like me. Okay. That is coming in here. He actually genuinely cares about me. He's consistent in coming in and talking to us and teaching us things that's going to help us, be better for the future. And that was great in that aspect. But, going out here serving and policing the streets, being black is tough. Even, you want to help your people, but your people still have that negative connotation in their mind about how they perceive law enforcement. So you're like behind the 8 ball, right, when it comes to that.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that going in the black communities, okay, do you think that it's the uniform they see, or do you think it's you that they see when that perspective? Is it because they've had a bad experience, or is it because the uniform, or is there like a betrayal? Like, you're one of us, but you're in that uniform, so it's almost like an outcast.
Well, I think it's, in my personal opinion, it's the uniform.
Okay.
Because the thing is, once they break past that and you start to talk to them, if you're on a call, once they see the uniform, they may respond in a negative way, but then right. when you start talking to them, then they're like, okay, wait a minute. This officer genuinely cares. He's here to help me. He's not like the other officers, or right. she's not like the other officers. And that opens up, it breaks down that barrier. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, they see the uniform. Once they break past that barrier and see that you genuinely care, then it opens up and it creates space for you to be able to show them that all police are not the same. That, we right. have some officers out here that are some good officers, and they really want to help you. So I think that's the biggest thing from their perspective. They receive you as their own once they break past the barrier of that, seeing that badge and seeing you in that uniform.
Now, I know I can personally say that being in uniform as a deputy and also as a federal officer, I personally receive more thank you for your service from white people than black. Has that been your experience?
It has. Had a lady the other day when I was at work. She was a flight attendant, and I was walking past to get something to eat. and she literally just grabbed me by my arm. Now, you know,
right, right. You don't reach up and grab
so
the
I
police.
turned like,
Okay,
lady, what you doing?
Right.
Like, don't grab an officer like that, you know. But yeah, she did. She stopped me to thank me for my services and different things like that. And yes, I do find that more so from white people than I do from black people. It's very rare that I do get a shout out or kudos or whatever, that a boy, from blacks, and that's okay, because I don't do it to get kudos and thanks.
Right.
But
right.
you know, just like veterans going to serve this country, they go to serve because they have a love for the country.
Right.
You know, whether they get a thank you or not, they're doing it because they have a passion and love for it. So that's the
right.
same thing with me. But you know, I think it would be encouraging for African American officers to get that love from blacks
right.
as well.
Now let me ask you this: do you think that because there is a difference in the love or the appreciation that you receive from blacks versus whites, do you believe that is due to the black community being done so bad by police? Do you feel like that negativism or lack of appreciation is because, you know, the black community's profile is treated differently? So do you think that comes from that?
I think it does. You know, I think Atlanta, I was listening to Killer Mike talk about his father and, you know, him being, you know, first
right.
black police and having to change over in the YMCA. They couldn't even be in the same quarters, changing uniforms and clothes. So imagine being black on the force, being treated like that. Now those same said officers are going out into the community and treating blacks like that.
Right.
So
right.
of course they have a legitimate, you know, concern.
Right.
When it comes to that. But at the same time, you know, I just don't want blacks to kick us to the curb as African American officers and be like, well, you just like them, and you don't even give us an opportunity to show you that we're not like them. We're actually here to do the job that we were sworn in to do, and we genuinely care about you. But just don't group us and categorize us and put us in the same boat as everybody else when you haven't even given us an opportunity to show you that love back. So.
Okay. Well, now we've kind of talked about, I guess, pre-Black Lives Movement, okay? Mm-hmm. So what do you think now, you know, in general? Now, we are in a different position. We are not street, you know, cops.
Right.
You know, so we do a different job in law enforcement, okay? But with that being said, what do you think is the biggest hurdle right now, or the biggest issue for blacks in law enforcement right now with the Black Lives Movement happening as we speak?
From an officer perspective?
From an officer perspective.
I think it's that getting over the shadow of what some of our fellow colleagues are doing around the country.
Okay.
I feel like there's a dark shadow cast over us, and it keeps us from being able to really allow people to see, okay, to break through that and be like, okay, we know Black Lives Matter, and your lives matter to us.
Right.
And I think what will help that is if more officers do like what you're doing, what you did, and what you will continue to do to enlighten people and to say, hey, guys, I'm for you. I'm not against you.
Right.
We got to stop being silent.
Right.
And I think I was just talking to someone the other day about this, about us as African American officers need to be more vocal and speak out. We've been too quiet too long.
Right.
And it took George Floyd and several others, you know, being killed and murdered for us to be like, oh, well, we need to step up and do it. No, we need to be more proactive, being more engaged with the community, and letting our people know that, yes, I wear this uniform, but as you said in the video, I'm black before I'm blue.
Right.
So we need people to know that we truly mean that when we do that.
Well, you all, I hope that this was very informative. I've kind of shared some light on you all about being a black female officer, okay, and what I have experienced. We're both gonna dig into a lot. We're trying to give you a lot. We've got some scenarios that we're gonna do some live scenarios that we're going to work on together to give you all, so that you all have a better understanding of your rights, what to do and not to do. Okay, but I want you all to give me feedback. Give us feedback, okay? When we post these videos, give us feedback. If you have more questions, we're going to answer those questions. If you have situations that has happened and you don't know if it was right or wrong, give us those situations as well. We're going to do our best, okay, to answer those questions and be as informative as possible, okay? Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and share and subscribe, okay, down below. Stay tuned. All right, we back, y'all. Second scenario of the traffic stop scenarios. This particular scenario is going to be the do's and the don'ts of a traffic stop, but the civilian has a gun and has a license to carry that gun, okay? Make sure you all pay close attention to the hands of me and also the officer. Very important to pay attention to the details of this do's and don'ts. Remember, this is in possession of a firearm, but have a pistol permit, okay?
How you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing good.
Officer Jackson with Sigma Police Department. The reason I pulled you over, you were speeding, so I'm gonna need your driver license and insurance, please.
Yes, sir. My license and insurance is right here in this little opening here. Is that okay?
I can see it. Go ahead and reach for it.
Okay. My license and my insurance.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Sir,
Yes.
I need to let you know I do have a gun
Okay.
in the car, but I do have a license. I have a permit for it.
Okay, where's the gun located?
It's right here in the console.
Okay, and where your permit located?
It's in the console with the gun.
Console as well.
Yes.
All right. I tell you what, I'm gonna get you just go ahead and step out,
Okay.
and then we'll secure that permit.
Okay. Yes, sir. Is it okay if I go ahead and take my seatbelt
Yes,
off?
it is. Go ahead and cut your vehicle off.
Okay. Right. So that scenario was speeding, but I was in possession of a gun and I have a permit. All right, Officer Jackson, tell them from your perspective why you did what you did. Okay.
Okay. Once she, notified me and let me know that she had a weapon, and then that she had a permit for it, I proceeded to ask her, where is the weapon, where's the permit? Because some people have the permit, like in her case, with the weapon, or some people may have the permit in their wallet and the gun in a separate place. In this scenario, she had the permit with the gun. So I wanted to go in and remove her from the vehicle, even though she wasn't giving me any signs of anything I needed to be majorly concerned for. I still want to remove her away from that weapon, and then we'll go in and then we'll look for the permit, and then we'll secure the weapon as well. But we do that for safety for everybody, because I don't know what's going on with her. She could have just robbed a store or something. I don't know that, right? Why she could be speeding, but I just want to remove her from the gun.
Okay, and you noticed where my hands were. I was very polite and respectful to the officer. I did not make any sudden movements without asking him, is it okay if I take my seatbelt off? He told me to shut the car off first. I did exactly what he told me to do. Very important, okay?
Hey, what are you speeding for? Are you in a hurry somewhere?
Well, sir, I didn't realize I was speeding.
Okay, well, you done ran somebody off the road. Let me get your driver license insurance.
Well, what's your problem today?
Hey, can you just give me your driver license insurance? Whoa, what are you doing?
You just asked me to give you my license and insurance.
Okay, well, I don't know what you're reaching for.
Well, you just said the license and insurance,
Where are
sir.
your license and insurance?
They're right here.
Okay, let me get it.
Can I get it?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, I'm telling you, I got a gun in here.
You got a gun?
I got
You got a gun? No, let me see. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Don't move.
Oh my gosh.
Where's the gun?
It's here. I'm just letting you know I have a gun, but I do have a permit, sir. I have a permit for it.
Where's the permit?
It's with the gun.
Let me get you to get out. Cut the car off. Get out the vehicle. Get out.
I'm scared to get out.
Cut the car off and out of the vehicle.
Sir, I don't like your attitude. I'm scared.
Cut the car off and get out of the vehicle.
You just saw the scenario of speeding, me having my gun with my license, but Officer Jackson today was having a bad day. I don't know what was going on with him, but I really thought I was gonna die because he was overzealous. He didn't want to hear anything I had to say. He had his hand on his gun. So talk about Officer Jackson, how some officers they're scared, whatever the case may be, because some of you all probably have experienced something just like this.
Well, like you were just saying, everybody has had a bad day before. Some officers having a bad day, some officers just like that. So you got to expect the unexpected. You never know where you're going to get coming up to the vehicle. So you have to be ready to respond. But in this case, I was having a bad day. Just got off the phone arguing with my wife, and I was going to take it out on her because she was speeding and did something to make me upset. So I basically came up, took it out on her. I ignored any anything that would be, to keep my awareness level up. I completely disregarded any of those things that I was previously doing before in approaching the vehicle. I just disregarded all of that just because of the bad day I was having. And I took it out on her, which could end up getting me hurt and end up getting a citizen hurt.
All right, if you notice, you all, I still kept my hands on the steering wheel. But if you notice, I was in a tizzy. He scared me. He had his hand on his gun. Thought I was going to die, okay? So in that situation, you got to put ego and pride to the side. You see that this officer is irate. He's acting crazy, and he's got his hand on the gun. So just keep your hands right there where he can see them. Do what he says do. If you feel like in that situation, okay, if you want to complain, go make a complaint, but just live through the traffic stop, okay? Live through the traffic stop.